We're good. So we're live at the one and only Avaya Stadium. I'm here with Colin and some other friends, Dan, Quakes fan, and Alex, Quakes Talk. So go ahead and, ask some real questions, please.
The sad thing about this one is that the game is itself...
There's nothing to talk about?
Not much to talk about on this one. A 0-0 draw, neither team actually looked close to winning or doing anything at any point. So, it was a boring one.
Right.
The most exciting thing that happened was undoubtedly the Warriors and the noise that people made when they saw that. On the pitch stuff, the Quakes were super insanely short-handed. They had two goalkeepers on the 18, and they had a couple guys in the 18 who, to be honest, were not really fit to go. Jordan Stewart is sort of working his way back. Cordell Cato's working his way back, and Andres Imperial is too innocent, really honestly couldn't play even if he wanted to. The Dom had extremely limited options going to the bench today.
Yeah. So
this is my house, by the way, so I can't go back to your house.
Oh, you're watching it. Oh, okay.
I'm watching it right here, by the way. So the
so you can see these questions.
Yeah, just in case.
Okay.
I'm taking account of who's giving me hearts and who's not.
So let me think of one that's actually good. How about any injury updates?
Clarence Goodson.
Yes.
I just tweeted this out, but been hearing a little bit more about him lately, and Dom in the press conference explicitly talked about the fact that Clay is getting closer to a return. He still wouldn't give a timeline on it as recently as Thursday at training when I asked him, but I would guess that the timeline would be in weeks rather than months. I'd say like after the Copa break might be a time that Clay would come back.
And Mateus, he was training on the training field before the game today, but he wasn't in the 18.
Yeah, he was running. He was running in practice this week. I didn't see him play the ball in practice this week, which usually means they're about a week out at least. Mateus could make it for Portland, though. I think or he could make the 18 for Portland.
Yeah.
I highly doubt that he would start, however. I just think he would be an option off the bench.
Innocent, question mark. Good question.
There's no questions and every question with innocent. There's just unbelievable. I have no idea, man. I think he's getting closer-ish, probably a week or two, but I don't think he'd be back for Portland.
Yeah, and I don't know if it'll matter.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll matter.
I mean, today assuming that he was healthy, Adam John was picked over him, so.
Yeah, I don't think we should assume that Nissen is healthy today.
Yeah,
I think that his presence on the bench was to do with the fact that no one else was even slightly healthy.
Can we survive without Wando?
Yes. Next question.
Defensively or offensively?
Defensively, This team's always going to prevent people from scoring goals. Offensively, one more hit or miss.
Daniel asked, has the front office given up?
So first of all, somebody just said that Salinas had a great game on the Periscope. Good for you, whoever that is. You're a brave man. Will Spurs ever finish above Arsenal? Yes. It will happen. It hasn't happened since the 90s, so before my actual memories.
One day.
What was the other question? Is the FO?
Yeah,
FO's
have
fine.
they given up?
They're fine. They made one huge mistake on Innocent.
Yeah.
And other than that, by my account, there was only one other front office true mistake in the last year, and that was Paulo Renato, and that's a very small mistake. I think that overall they're getting a lot more decisions right than they are wrong in the last year or so. But the problem is it requires a couple of years of good decisions before you get there. And they hit me.
Diego asks, how do you feel when you make fun of my mom?
I honor and cherish that woman. She's
right.
a saint.
So, is there anything else to talk about regarding the game? Adam John? Question mark.
Adam John is not good enough to make a difference in an MLS game.
Terry_Motos asks, why was Paulo Renato a bad decision?
Paid him $100,000, which is a lot of money. to be a backup center back, and by the end of the year, Dom thought he was so bad that he wasn't even worth playing in the 18, despite the shortage of center backs.
Yeah, and they dropped him, and it seemed like something had happened.
Yeah, and they was at the game that Paulo Renato made his last appearance in the 18, and it was an apocalypse of a defensive performance. It was one of the worst defensive performances I've ever seen, and from that point on, Dom was like, we don't have a guy I can trust. And so if you spend $100,000 on a guy like that, it's not working. It's like a Pablo Pintos situation.
Oh boy.
I got a question for
Don't
you.
mind me.
Yeah.
Quakes have been decimated by injuries. Is it time to reevaluate the training staff?
Oh, that's an interesting. You know what? I have not heard anybody bring that up yet.
I think John brought it up last year.
No, so this is Dan Burkett ever asking that question live, not even in the Periscope. That's an interesting question. They've switched over their medical sponsorship, and that is not just switching over the jersey sponsor, but they've actually switched over the medical staff that they use for major medical procedures. Not their training staff, like their day-to-day staff is the same. But like if a guy gets surgery or whatever, they're going to Sutter now. So that part changed. But that hasn't really been the problem. The major injuries. The problem has been the more minor stuff. And I don't know. The Quakes have had a really heavy injury load the last 2 years. I think part of it's because the team's older.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, you're just always going to experience more with an older team. But they also, the way they construct their roster, they only have 27 guys on the roster right now. 3 goalkeepers. Some teams have 28 guys on the roster and 2 goalkeepers, and the third goalkeeper is Poole. So I think that, there's different ways to arrange your roster, especially if you're a USL affiliate that's a direct, like Quakes 2 or something, then you can call guys up in emergency situations. The Quakes have none of those luxuries. So I think that most teams have an injury list that's kind of comparable. I just think the Quakes are less equipped to deal with it numbers-wise. They're okay equipped to deal with it, like, quality-wise. Their second options at a lot of positions are not bad, but the numbers are not good. I think the training, so I don't know. I'm going to wait this season out. And if it's this bad throughout the season, then yes. It's definitely something you got to look at.
It seems like this has been a chronic problem. I mean, it is. Last year we were blaming injuries all season long, and Pelosi knee surgery. Lenny's gone from knee surgery. Jertson season-ending surgery or career-ending surgery. I think he's back to playing now, but innocent. His Silva. We think he has a concussion. He's got a left knee problem. It's like, when is this going to stop? Jordan Stewart takes him a year to get back on the pitch, and he's still not.
Well, so on that, Lenny and Pelosi had degenerative knee conditions that were pre-existing their time in San Jose. Lenny's dates back to his Columbus Crew days. Pelosi obviously dates back to his Liverpool days. So those chronic conditions, I think it's harder to kind of assign them the blame there. And the training staff is new as of Dom. So when Dom came over, I believe the training staff switched over then. So I would really only evaluate what's gone on since then. And I don't know. I know they didn't have a nutrition program until very recently, until the last year or two. And that's something that, affects player performance as well in fitness. So, I think this franchise was really behind the times for a long time. And is only recently catching up with the other teams in this league in terms of how they prepare their players physically.
Someone a little while ago asked, when will Tommy score, and if he doesn't score this year, is he a bust?
No, I think that the weird thing is that he's not an attacking player, or not. He's not like a forward, but he's been listed as a forward so much coming up that people assume he should be scoring goals. I think that his long-term position is a central midfielder, like a number 8. Mm-hmm. A guy who plays a little bit deeper, is good on the ball, has a good touch, can peck out a tidy pass. Keeps the midfield ticking over. Yeah. So I don't think he's a goals guy, but I do think it'll come. I think he'll be able to pitch in some, but I don't think that goals are going to define his contribution. There was a related question on that. Well, first of all, Diego, stadium tours with me, those would be free, but good luck on getting access to the other parts of the stadium that you need a badge for. The focus on ball skills, though, I don't really know. I think that ball skills are something that's really nice to have when you have other things going on for you. But Tommy, before this year, you see what happens when a guy has tons of ball control skill, but not a lot of other skills. is they're a pretty ineffectual player if they don't have something else in addition to their ball control.
What did you think of starting? What did you think of the starting of both MPG and Salinas?
I actually wanted that. That's what I assumed was going to happen. The two things that surprised me is one, that Matthias was started on the left flank and Shea was started on the right flank surprised me. And then two, it surprised me that Shea stayed the entire 90 minutes. But it's mostly a product of who's not here. The guys who aren't here are the guys who are kind of defining that. Cordell, if he was fitter, maybe it would be an option there, but he's still working his way back to 100%. Shea had a real bad night, but he's been pretty good throughout the season. And we actually asked Dom about this at the end, or in the press conference, and what he said is that the positioning of Shea on the right and Matthias on the left had more to do with the defensive side of the ball than the offensive side of the ball, which makes a lot of sense and makes that decision so much more justifiable, because it's kind of baffling, and especially with how bad of an offensive game Shea had, it was like, what the hell are you thinking? The thinking was that Hollingshead and Castillo on that side are the guys who are more dangerous going forward. Whereas on the other side, it's Matthias Perez-Garcia is not going to be tracking back. So you want a guy like Shea who's going to track back and play better defense to contain Castillo, who's one of the best wingers in the league, and Hollingshead, who's a really dangerous overlapper. So I guess that was successful on the defensive side of the ball because Castillo had a very quiet night. And so I would kind of like moderate and say that the Shea performance was terrible offensively, but it was adequate to good defensively, and it kept Castillo in check.
Imperiale still injured?
No, he trained fully this week for the most part. It could, he's still probably working back to 100%, but no, he's like good to go. He could have played tonight.
And does MPG actually play wing? He seems to be more in the center of the park.
He plays wing in like the Argentine sense of playing wing. What do they call that? There's a specific term they have for the wide creator players.
Tracker.
It's like a trequartista type, but it's not as. There's a different term for it. Mm-hmm. If I think of it, enganche, that's what it is. Enganche is playing from the wings. Basically, in a league that gives you a lot of time on the ball, you have inverted wingers who kind of create and do stuff from the wings. That's very common, and that's what MPG is. In leagues like this, where you have less time on the ball, or particularly like England is probably the league that has the least time on the ball, you have a little bit more direct wingers and fewer creative wingers. So he fits, but not necessarily for like a Dominic Muir system as a winger.
Right. Same lineup for Portland.
Oh, jeez.
On Wednesday.
Probably.
Yeah.
Andrew Tarbell up front.
I think that I'd say probably there's a possibility that we won't have two goalkeepers on the bench. You might see Mateus Silva come back, but that's it.
Are you worried about this time during the Copa without these key players?
Sort of. They only miss the next match in Portland, and if that's a loss, then who cares? Because Providence Park is hard to get points in anyway. That's
we haven't won there.
Deal.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people have much success there. But then later in the month, the only way they'd be missing the late June matches, I think it's Orlando and LA at Stanford. Mm-hmm. The only way they'd miss those matches if they're in the semifinals or the final of Copa. And I would, as much as I'd love to see that, I don't think that anyone. So first of all, I think Jamaica and Panama are definitely not going to make the semifinals or finals of Copa. And I think the U.S. is a long shot too. So I think that they'll be fine.
Do you think Quakes fans were justified in booing Atiba Harris? He hasn't done anything, but he is a former Quake. But
Atiba was one of my least favorite Quakes during his time here. There was like a series of right backs who were like my run of my least favorite Quakes. Pablo Pentos was on the list of my least favorite Quakes. So yeah, I get it. Atiba's been okay with Dallas actually. He's been okay last season, but yeah. Atiba, I think that the lack of effort he gave here and the lack of quality were enough to boo him. I get it.
Atiba need the shit out of MPG. He did.
He did. One thing I would say though is if Matthias was a normal human size, then he would not get kneed in the back. He'd be like kneed in something way less painful. Matthias is, that big, and so he's one of the few guys who can take a knee from a standing man, like right in the square middle of his back.
Kyle,
I mean, I feel bad at laughing at Matthias's pain, but it was definitely one of those.
Kyle says, another nice shirt, Colin. Where did you get it?
This is, my dad gave it to me. It's from Untucket.
And any transfer rumors?
No. We don't get a lot of those for a couple of different reasons. One is that if they're going to sign a high-profile player, it comes from the discovery list, which are secret, and the clubs keep them secret for good reason. They have strategic reason to keep them secret. If it's a low-level signing, you probably wouldn't have heard of them. So there's, it's kind of like either they're a high level and they have this strong incentive to keep them secret, or they're low level and nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't have good sources in Panamanian or Hungarian football that would have tipped you off to Anibal Godoy coming over. You know what I mean? So like no one in MLS is.
We're not big enough to have transfer rumors.
Is intense enough to know the minor European and South American, Latin American leagues.
Can you name the supposed forward that they're looking at, which they're not actually looking at anymore? But
I didn't name it on the last.
No, you didn't. It was a mystery.
I mean, I heard. Look, this is not a rumor that has any legs. But ask Quakes Brazil.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Or just look at the chat.
But
it's not happening.
But it's not. Yeah, it's not happening. I mean, I bet they look. There's also a difference, by the way, between guys they feel out and guys they have a realistic chance of signing.
Right.
So, for example, I think that Carlos Vela fits into the camp of like they asked.
Mm-hmm.
MLS certainly was interested in him, and MLS tried to figure out places where it'd be logical that he could land, and San Jose raised its hand and was like, yeah, for sure, this is a logical landing place, but that doesn't mean that like his agent came out here and they started talking numbers.
Yeah.
So there's kind of there's like different levels of how much the interest was. Of course, they're interested in Carlos Vela. The question is, how serious is that? Can they back that up? Or was it ever realistic?
Any more questions?
It was weirdly quiet. I was expecting more banter.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want to open the floodgates too much.
Did you buy Oscar Pereira happy with a 0-0 draw?
That's a really good question too. Pereira's a really intense dude, and I have never seen his personality type to be like, you know what, we're totally cool with the draw. Kinnear is a totally cool with the draw dude. He's like, yeah, man, we pick up points when we can get them. Pereira is more of like a, this is a bad day for soccer kind of guy. So no, I wasn't expecting that. But the team played like that. You know what I mean? The team played like their coach had told them that he was okay with the point. So in that sense, I did believe him. I would not have expected it, but I believed him. I saw the chat about Kofi.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I actually kind of like the way that Kofi plays. I think that he's a solid right back. I don't know. Yeah, he's good. He's solid.
And another question going off of that, someone said, since we got the shutout this game, do we insert Imperiale against Portland or we just leave it?
I would. The reason I would is that Fernando Adi is one of the good, really, really good target forwards in this league, and Marvel Wynn is 5'9" on a good day and was eviscerated in the air against LA Galaxy, and Galaxy is not a big, tall aerial team. So I think that if they struggled that badly against Galaxy in the air, that they'd struggle even more against Portland, and Imperiale has a good 4 inches on Marvel.
Right.
So yeah, that's.
Any more questions? This, like you said, there hasn't been any rated R questions.
Yeah, this is the tamest Periscope yet.
What the hell is
They're
this?
actually following the rules you set for it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
There's supposed to be a lot of hype for this. Where the hell is Innocent? Where the hell?
Isn't fully healthy. Like, he could not have gone 90 tonight. Shea at least had legs, and that's kind of, I guess, the difference in this game is, like, skill, maybe not, but legs, yes. Innocent didn't have the legs. And to be honest, we haven't seen the skill come through this season either.
How cute was Cordell and his family matching shirts?
Love it. Cordell's a really shy dude. He's not, showy, but
he's super nice.
He's super nice, and he was nice enough to let me take a picture of him and his kid. Yeah. Who were wearing matching, plaid shirts. It was awesome.
Based on performances so far, who would you cut during the off season?
So first of all, MLS only allows one pure cut. So when you say cut, there's different ways that can mean. Yeah. One is not renew a contract that has expired. One is not pick up an option. that is available, and one is truly just cut him and release him. The NFL allows you to release because they have non-guaranteed contracts. MLS is mostly guaranteed contracts. So if you release a guy and he's not on the budget, it means, or excuse me, if you release a guy, it's on the budget with one exception every year. You get one off-cap buyout. No one has said this to me directly, but I believe that Sonaniasi is what they use this year as their one off-cap buyout. I also believe that it was probably Pablo Pintos last year that was their off-cap buyout.
Makes sense.
And
seems we have one of those a year.
Yeah, you get one a year. And they decided to do that rather than Jean-Baptiste Ferrazzi.
Oh, just
He played for Corsica.
yeah, he did.
Yeah, he's back.
He played
for Corsica.
He doesn't have a club though.
Was it yesterday or today? It was just. I think it was just a friendly.
Yeah.
No, I like JPB. He was a nice guy, and
Yeah.
he seemed like he really cared. It just seemed like he kind of had, a mounting injuries.
Yeah.
And was also probably not as good as the front office sold him for. I think the front office had kind of like underplayed rather than overplayed his acquisition.
Right.
And had paid him maybe a tiny bit less money, and maybe hadn't been quite as extreme bad injury luck. I actually think he could have been a decent player around here. But no, he was actually really struggling with his health at the end of his Quakes tenure.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, but the cut thing, it's option declines.
Right.
That's what you're looking for. Steven Lenhart's contract is up after this year, so that is no longer a thing.
Yeah.
Although that doesn't matter for this year, I believe he's off cap already.
Yeah.
Adam
you just have to pay him.
You just have,
Adam John off his rookie contract.
Yeah, is done with his rookie contract after this year, so I'm assuming he'll be moved on. There's no bad contracts on this team.
Yeah.
There's no,
there's some good ones.
Yeah, so last year there's some terrible contracts that you needed to offload. Jason Hernandez honestly had a bad contract.
Yeah.
Jean-Baptiste Ferrazzi had a bad contract. Sonaniasi had a bad contract. Steven Lenhart had a bad contract. So, those are the guys who need to get off the books.
Right.
They don't have any bad contracts right now. Marvel Lynn is the guy who's making the most right now, who is maybe not worth that amount of money, but
he's still
not by much.
Yeah.
Like he's right in that zone. He's fine.
And MPG's contract is up after this
MPG
season.
is done after this year as well.
And we're paying him, or according to the salary sheet, something like 285 or something, 300. You say renew him, or?
Dom doesn't appear to think that he's the right fit in this team.
Yeah.
Stylistically speaking, maybe personality-wise too. I don't know. So I would doubt. I don't know. It seems like a weird fit. It's not as bad of a fit as Innocent in the team. But
right.
The one thing though is that let's see. His number is there, but Dom did explicitly say there were at least a couple. The coaches in the front offices in MLS are deeply skeptical of the players' union salary report every year.
No.
They always mention a couple of players in particular. They're like, they're not making that amount. One of the guys that Dom mentioned was Fabian Castillo. He's like, Castillo, he's not making 170 grand. He's making more than that.
Yeah.
So
There's
the
probably
front office people are deeply skeptical of that players report, and one of the ways that could be true is non-guaranteed bonuses usually don't get factored into salary or into expected total compensation. So they're non-guaranteed bonuses, but I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where the players' union has an incentive to be more reporting. The front office has an incentive to be less reporting, so they make it up.
Yeah.
So don't necessarily trust the salary numbers. I love them. I put together a spreadsheet based on them, and I try to figure it out. But a lot of people.
CBA is a big, complicated mess.
Quakes haven't won in Portland. Are they going to do it?
No.
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 What about U.S. Open Cup?
No.
So we're
that
not even
sucks.
U.S. Open Cup.
No. No way. Timbers have a second team, and therefore they have a lot more depth right now than the Quakes do. And it's going to be in Portland, and Dom doesn't care about it. So I think that there's a lot working against the Open Cup tie.
Was it you that said that you make 5 times more money off the Open Cup than winning the CONCACAF?
Yeah, that's right.
So why don't we focus on the Open Cup?
So by the way, this is something Dan's talking about. Go, if you have way too much time in your hands and you just want to waste your life away, read the collective bargaining agreement of the players' union that was signed last winter.
Yeah.
It includes this this absolute doozy of a number here, which is that apparently the bonus you get for winning the CONCACAF Champions League is $50,000. When I say the bonus, I mean you get $50,000 to distribute to your players as bonuses for winning it. If you win the U.S. Open Cup, you get $250,000. That being said, it does come from a different pool source.
Yeah.
The CONCACAF Champions League comes from MLS. The
Oh,
U.S. Open
okay.
Cup comes from the U.S. Soccer Federation, which organizes the U.S. Open Cup. So there is a different federation that's giving out these monies. But the fact that the U.S. Open Cup has 5 times the bonus pool, I mean, that kind of speaks to the priority that they give to these competitions. But it's really bizarre. I don't get it, personally.
Right. Still got Hearts coming in. That's good.
Always.
Quakes are, what are they? Well, they came in 6th on the table.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they are still, I don't know.
LA
I
lost.
I think they're 5 right now.
Are they
LA
5 right
lost,
now?
yeah.
Wait,
so.
no. So LA lost, and that puts them tied on points. But
Yeah,
LA
but LA is a game in hand.
So
Right.
they might still be 6. Did our RSL play today?
Yes.
Is this a good spot to be in going into mid-season, or are we looking?
Yeah, they actually have a pretty good gap on the teams that are out of the playoff picture. So I think they're in solid shape, and I think that post international absences, that's a pretty good team. I think that it's growing into itself a little bit.
Kind of sucks.
They played really well against LA.
Yeah.
And I think that really impressed me. And if they can play that well against LA in LA, then this is a team that could make the playoffs.
Yeah, and it kind of sucks that, like, when we got everyone back in LA, everyone left.
Yeah. So I think the LA game represents what this Quakes team is kind of working towards. Like, that's kind of showing you the direction they're going in.
And then without the own goal, I think if we have Clay in there, that doesn't happen.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so Marvell is the right-sided center back when he's playing with Victor. Victor is the right-sided center back when he's playing with Clay.
So
the
then
guy
it would
back
happen.
post on that play would have been Victor Bernardes, who has been known to have an own goal in him. My rule is 1 a season for Victor, so this would have been 2 a season.
Done the quota. Hopefully no more.
If anybody has suggestions for Victor Bernardes bingo, like a bingo board, send them in. Me and Jeff Lepper in the box every day. Every game we talk about it.
2 questions. What was it? What is our weakest spot?
Left back.
Yeah, I agree. Is that the U.S.?
Left back is rough. And then I saw the Tarbell's trade
Yeah.
date. No, not yet. He's got a lot of raw talent, and remember, David Bingham spent many years outside the first team before he joined.
Right.
And that's what goalkeepers do. Goalkeepers are in a later developmental cycle. They typically get loaned out, get game time. They kind of understudy an older keeper. Yeah, Tarbell's got years before he hits his peak, and a lot of people around the league thought that Andrew Tarbell is the best keeper in the draft by far, and he has a lot of raw potential. And it'll either pan out or it won't, but they won't make that decision for a couple years. Tim Hanley's a good goalkeeper coach, by the way. I think
They have a longer shelf life too.
Yeah.
Just in general, so you're not.
I think they're patient. Yeah. They're going to be patient with him.
Any more questions?
I have that Stewart's had a chance to start over Sean Francis on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility, but probably not.
Yeah.
I think that Dom likes Sean Francis more than any of us do, because we pay more attention to what he does on the ball and as an attacker, and less to what he does off the ball.
Right.
Which includes what he does away from the ball, which is a different thing. You can be defending on, close to the ball. You can be defending away from the ball. And in that order is how much fans pay attention to it. If you're on the ball, we pay the most attention.
Right.
If you're defending the ball, we pay second most attention. If you're defending not on the ball, we pay the least attention. My guess is Dom likes what he's doing in those kind of unnoticed parts of the game, because obviously I don't see it myself. And Jordan, I think, is still working his way back. The Achilles injury is a brutal injury that derails a lot of careers. Kobe Bryant famously had this exact same injury and was not the same after it. And most people aren't. So I think that usually takes a while.
How do you think Tarbell will affect Meredith's future in San Jose?
I think that Brian Meredith is an excellent backup, but I don't think that Brian Meredith is a MLS number 1.
Yeah.
So, I think that's going to stay true.
Rumor of USL in Reno with San Jose Earthquakes controlling that. Has there been any developments or?
So this is why you guys go on the Periscope, right? Because I don't have an editor telling me that I have to submit my sources and have two sources corroborate, and preferably on record. I get to go pure rumor mongering. I talk to people on both the Reno side and on the San Jose side who absolutely say this is a thing. They're going to have a USL affiliation starting in 2017. Book it. I'm assuming that it's going to include significant technical control from the Quakes. It's not going to last that long, though, because once they get the Academy Complex, I think they're going to look to making a Quakes 2 right here in San Jose. And further prediction, I predict that Quakes 2 will be called the Clash.
True. Okay. What else do we got?
I hope I've
There's a giant bug behind you.
There is a giant bug. Holy shit. Good lord. Yeah, there's a stadium full of moths right now.
Yeah, I can vouch for that prediction.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a moth storm.
The Reno people will not on record confirm that they've had these negotiations, but off record confirm that they've had these negotiations.
Right. Any more questions? Anything? If you said something and I missed it, that's probably because
Where are my group chatters at?
Yeah, where's the group?
What do I think of Dom this season? I love Dom. I actually do. I really do.
Yeah.
I think the closer and more that I've watched him, the more I'm impressed with him.
Right.
Which I think is a really good sign for a coach. He's like kind of stuck in his ways and has that going on, and I think that can be frustrating for people that he's conservative and patient and not particularly exciting, and he doesn't really feel, and he's not a charmer, he's not trying to charm your pants off, but he's not stylistic, he's not philosophical, but he's a really good coach.
And that's worked in MLS.
Yeah.
You got Arena.
No, I think that he's earned the respect of his players. I think that they like playing for him, and I think that his system works. And I think that if you've watched the way that they played against LA, it's not, or against Portland, in Portland earlier this season for that matter, it's not a dreary team if Dom's coaching it. It's a dreary team depending on who's on the field for him.
Exactly, yeah.
So no, I really like Dom. I missed that last question, by the way. So.
Something about him not playing in PG, but I think he played him today.
Mm-hmm. I think it's very clear based on Dom's comments that the MPG thing is defensive. Defense related. He said it today. He said it in previous games. The defense has been the issue. And by the way, if you remember the Houston game, the one goal they gave up was when Matias was sleeping twice on the same play. So I understand that what Dom's saying is slightly more creative player, defensive liability. What do I go with?
Do you think there are any actual personal differences between the two?
Not necessarily. I didn't get that. I don't get the impression that there's like a feud or something.
Yeah.
I just think that Dom has what he wants.
Different styles.
And Matias is a different style he grew up with and he grew up playing. You want to send it the last 3 minutes or whatever? Or countdown clock?
Let's do that.
3 questions.
All right.
What about that?
Tweet this out.
Cali Classico.
Anyone want to get me tickets? Like 12 tickets?
What?
I need tickets.
Oh.
That's Cali Classico.
Yeah. I took my friends to their first game, and now they want to come to every game. So that's the Avaya Stadium effect right there.
It's the effect of the TCL 4K bar.
There you go. Boom.
I'll tell you, my wife has a cousin, not even a sports fan, but she loves coming to
games. Yeah.
So, it's kind of phenomenal what live soccer does, because when you watch it live, it's the best sport to watch live. It's just that much fun.
And you do see the game very differently when you see it live. The pace and the style and the movement is different.
Yeah. Plus, it's a continuous 45.
Yeah.
So it's not like, you're taking timeouts and there's songs you can play and like that. So,
and there's the atmosphere, which you don't see in any other American sport, really.
Speaking of, Imperio, they're pretty non-existent today. They didn't have the drums. They seem to be getting a little bit of vitriol from the fans. Imperial? Is there something going on? Have we?
Someone on Twitter said that they were banned from chanting today. I don't know why.
They were banned?
Yeah, they weren't allowed to cheer today, but I don't know why. Or
All the supporters groups are going to have animosities with each other as a matter of course through most clubs, particularly this one right here. And the reason why is that Imperio split off from Ultra, so it's not like they don't know each other.
Yeah.
They in fact divided. And the Faultliners too. So anytime you have a group split off from the other groups, there's probably going to be some amount of tension out there just generally. I also think that supporters group culture here in San Jose and in a lot of places is liable to get into it. And obviously Imperio had that fight situation in the parking lot a couple months back.
I think it's because they're banging the drum for the national anthem. The last game.
I don't think that's big enough to get a stadium ban. I think that the fights are probably more likely to get the stadium ban or some kind of tension. The drums is just dumb, but whatever. Yeah. America's the only place in the world where we sing our national anthem at club matches.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before every game.
Before every game.
Nobody else does it.
International games they do all over the world, but club matches.
Yeah.
You get the UEFA Champions League anthem.
Yeah.
Cali Classico. I really like their chances though. They play really well in Northern California against Galaxy, and I think that this is a decent team, and I think they can beat LA. So I'll go for 3. I'll go for like last summer. I mean, a game like that.
Yeah.
Good pitched battle, motivated, energetic. It's not going to be dull like this.
Yeah, definitely.
There was a lack of that. Thoughts on the Champions League final? So was this number 2 questions? So first of all, I don't care about either one specifically speaking.
Yeah.
I don't have a Spanish club I particularly closely follow. If I do, to the extent I do, it's Athletic Bilbao.
Uh-huh.
But both of these teams have their roots in fascist Spain, and to be honest, if one fascist beats another fascist, I don't care. It's whatever.
You're historical.
Yeah, so that is my historical reason.
Yeah.
By the way, if you don't know your history, read about the history of Generalissimo Franco and Real Madrid and Atletico de Madrid.
They supported Atletico first and then Real, right?
That's exactly right. God, Ane is killing it on history right now. Yeah, so Atletico came from the Air Force. It was merged with the Air Force Club. It was therefore seen as the military team. But in the 50s, once Real started getting ascendant, Franco used it to promote Spanish fascism, and therefore explicitly supported Real at the expense of Barca and Bilbao and all the other ones. So anyway, whatever. They're fascists. Screw them. That being said, I'm a Spurs fan, and I still love Luka Modric, and I still love Gareth Bale. I hate it. It's like an ex-girlfriend that you haven't gotten over. I have not gotten over Gareth Bale. So yeah, I still love him.
I met both when they came to San Jose.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was cool. They had the open practice, and so I still have the thing with the autographs, even though I'm an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll come out.
Here's my question for you: which one was more intelligible? Luka Modric with his Croatian accent, Gareth Bale with his Welsh accent.
So, believe it or not, Bale did not say a single word. He was just... he was like, why am I here? This is... Because, back then it was just that little...
Buckshot, yeah.
It was like a dirt lot, out in nowhere. They're kind of like...
That's understandable.
Welcome to San Jose,
guys.
Yeah.
And so I think they honestly thought that a joke was being pulled on them because they couldn't believe that was actually a practice facility because of no locker rooms or anything like that. So
welcome to America.
Yeah, exactly. So Bale, he just kind of did his thing. Modric was a little more upbeat because maybe because he's Croatian and he hears about the United States.
So we're signing Bale?
Yeah. You heard it here first.
How does Avaya sound with one supporters group? Fantastic.
To be honest, we had the windows closed.
Oh,
in the
well,
press box, so.
I had them open, and the ultras were great as usual.
Yeah, we have 2 press boxes up here at the top, so I could not hear, but apparently in this one, I don't know, that's on the name.
And shout out to the ultras. They didn't look like they had a lot in their section, but they definitely brought the noise. It looked like half empty section, but the noise level was basically the same. And I'm sitting all the way on the other side of the stadium, so good job. ultras.
All right, last one, huh?
Thoughts on my house video? Fantastic. I actually got a video of the video, so I can. So I'll post it. Yeah. I'll break the copyright laws.
So
No, they can't.
No, they're not.
So, but not the you're saying like their montage video?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that was a copyright thing.
Diego says just said Bedoya to the chat.
Like Alejandro?
I'm guessing.
Oh, to the group chat?
Can Paul become the next head coach of the Quakes after Dom? Good question.
Paul Holliger?
Yeah, I'm guessing.
No. I love Paul.
Yeah.
But no.
I think he really loves like development and working with the academy as well. So
Paul's a really, really cool guy, but I don't think that he is a professional pedigree.
Yeah.
But he's a really cool guy. I really like Paul.
Super nice guy too.
Well,
He cares about the club.
He cares about the club. He cares about the sport in a very passionate way.
Yeah.
He knows a ton about the sport, and he's kind of a nice philosopher coach, which resonates with me.
All right. Any last final questions?
That do it? My thing ran out of battery, so I do not have the banter feed.
Well, there's no banter today. It's kind of disappointing, to be honest. I was expecting more. But you can see all these moths out here at a
The moths cometh.
What happens after? Thoughts on Abela?
Oh, one last one. We asked about the surface because a lot of people have been asking about it, and yet again, I asked an opposing coach. He's like, "Yep, it was slippery. We had to adjust to it." What the hell? And now after the game, they're going through the box that Bingham was defending in the first half. Right? Yeah. And they're de-chunking it.
Yeah.
This field is. Ugh.
Yeah, disappointing.
Anyway, I'm out.
All right.
See you, people.
See you guys. Fun times.
Yeah, this is Levi's. I mean, they're two. They look good, but they play terribly. Yeah, it's just.